What's up, guys? I'm back with another video, and today I made a tier list here, and this is it, and I'll be explaining my placements. I'll be starting off at the S tier through A tier, then B tier, then C, then D, then E. Okay, so starting off at S tier, we're going to start off at the bottom of these tiers at a time. We have Anya. Okay, so Anya, I have Anya here because Anya is a very, very good unit. You get puppets, and yeah, this is a tier list of units I recommend. And Anya is only a godly, so I highly recommend getting Anya. Excuse me for that burp if you heard it. And we got green and blue Draco. These are two very good Dracos to get. Blue slows enemies, green buffs damage, so I highly recommend getting those. We have Chose. Chose is he's a battle pass unit, so you can get him pretty easily. He's in level 50, so it's not too hard to get. Hot and Cold Boy, aka Toto, is a very good unit. He slows and gives burn. I highly recommend getting Toto. Agris is very, very, very high DPS. I highly recommend getting Agris. Ton of damage, bleed, huge AoE. Salter, I very highly recommend getting Salter. Salter does a ton of damage, so yeah, get that. Rage Draco, I recommend getting Rage Draco so much. Rage Draco buffs your units by like 175%, 100 or 150%, I forget, but either way, that is just crazy. Awakened Dory, this is the unit I recommend getting the most in the entire game. All you need is the premium battle pass and level like 38, and then you have enough soul essences to evolve Awakened from Dory to Awakened Dory, and yeah, he's so good. So that was S tier. Let's move down to A tier now and explain these. Nezu, what she does is people in her range have 15% more range plus 7.5% crit chance. I do this because Nezu is a very good combo with Gambler units, because plus 7.5% crit chance is very good for Gambler units. So yeah, that's why she's a pure support unit. Captain Brittle Saber I put in here. He does like millions and millions of damage a second. He is single hit, but I highly recommend getting him. He just does a ton of damage. Next, I have Gold Draco. Gold Draco is probably the worst out of the Dracos, so that's why he's in A tier. He makes your units do ×2 range, which is very, very, very helpful for full AoE units. So he's actually really good. Hamru, I made a video about time stop spam. Hamru is in it. You can spam time stop with Hamru. Not only that, she also does pretty good DPS. So she has two things good about her. So she's in A tier. Aroma is a very, very good shield breaker. He hits 20. He hits 18 times, I think. And yeah, it's just crazy. He gets rid of like all shields instantly. Dargon, I recommend evolving Dargon because Dargon does very good DPS. He's full AoE. So yeah, this is an evolved Dargon, by the way. Now I have Whitebeard. Whitebeard's you get in the dungeons like Dargon. Whitebeard's very good. He's very good for starting out, so I highly recommend him. Monarch. Sorry, I would put Monarch in S tier, except for the fact he's just really grindy. You have to do a ton of raids to get him. So since he's so grindy, he's at top A tier. I recommend him obviously, but not more than any of these units up here. Next, we got B tier. First, we have Yumio. Yumio is a very good money unit for people starting out, so I highly recommend getting Yumio. Horo is very good for the early game. He hits fast, he does a ton of damage, so Horo is really good. Yu-Gi-Oh is very good unit, I say. Highly recommend him. He's pretty situational though. Like, he's insane in raids, insane in infinite mode, but he's not that good in like classic or something. Oda is a farm. Farms are good. Light is not that good by itself, but if you like sell him, place him over and over again super fast, he can do a ton of damage. Ito, I've seen a lot of people use Ito, and she does a ton of damage. Whitebeard and Christmas Whitebeard, they're basically the same. So yeah, I recommend getting these two. Their tsunami ability is really good. Adult Gon is very good. You need Adult Gon to get Dark Gon. So yeah, it's just evolution. Denji is a very good bleed unit. I highly recommend getting Denji. Good for Infinity Castles. So yeah. Regular Dargon, he's not in the banner anymore, but I still have to recommend him pretty high. He's really good, so I highly recommend getting Dargon. He's full AoE, so yeah. Blackbeard, I highly recommend getting Blackbeard. Blackbeard is a really good slow. He slows by 25%, which is just crazy. Broly, Broly is a very good unit. I just can't recommend him like too high up here because he's just too hard to get in dungeons. It's a ton of grinding. So I do recommend getting Broly, but he's not top priority. Dr. Cold. Now, Dr. Cold's a very good unit. He gives the fastest shield in the game, meaning he'll give flash freeze the fastest of all units in the game. So I recommend getting yourself a Dr. Cold. Next we have Shanks. Shanks is a full AoE unit. I highly recommend getting Shanks. Shanks is very, very good. Miriam's next. Miriam, she has a ton of range. She does a lot of damage. He does burn, but it's small AoEs. But I highly recommend getting. The next three are all time stop units. I have a video of how to time stop. Yeah, I recommend go watching that. And yeah, you'll learn why these guys are so good. Now you have Yoshi and Thor. Both are very good Electrify units. Now Thor has a 5th upgrade, giving a full AoE. So he has a slight edge on Yoshi, but both are very good slows. C tier, we have Crimson Flamingo. Crimson Flamingo gives Sticky and Bleed, 2 very good effects, so I highly recommend doing that. Next are 2 Bulmas. These are farm units. Whis is a divine from the banner. Whis is actually very good. I highly recommend getting Whis. It does a lot of damage early, so it's really good. It's a starter. Troy Mustard, he gives burn, and yeah, he's pretty good. Toto, he does a lot of damage. I recommend getting him. Now, Tasha and Rengo, these 2 units are here because they do a lot of damage, and they give burn, mainly for the burn. So, yeah, 2 good burn units right here. Kyaku is not that good. I think she's a DPS unit, but she's not really that noticeable, so I don't really recommend getting her. Ichiban Kamei, he doesn't do too much. He does not do that much damage, so I don't really recommend getting that. I'm going to move my screen a little bit. Sorry. Psycho's pretty good. It's an ultimate from the banner. It does a lot of damage, but it's an ultimate from the banner. There's just so much better stuff to get, like Miriam, Shanks, and that stuff. Same with Admiral Kizaru. They're both damage units. Same case with him. There's just too many better ultimates for him to be good. Che does very good DPS. Highly recommend getting a Che. Or not really, but like Che's just good in general. Teriyaki's in the same boat as Kizaru and Psycho. I can't really recommend her. There's just a lot. Recommend Teriyaki. There's just a lot better stuff you can get. Aokiji, he does chilled. Now he does pretty good chilled. It's just he gets heavily outshined by Toto. It's the same thing with Captain Splinters and Captain Brittle Saber. This is a good unit, but just heavily outshined by Captain Brittle Saber. Rodius is a very good unit. It gives chilled and I think electrified, or it gives burn and electrified. I'm not sure if it's chilled or electrified, but either way, two meta effects. So yeah, I highly recommend getting Rodius. Troy Mustard evolves kind of like Troy Mustard, but he just does more burn and faster. Now we have Shiny Shadow. Shiny Shadow is good, but if you're gonna go in a dungeon anyway for a Shiny Shadow, just get yourself Whitebeard, the Whitebeard evolution right here. Shadow's pretty cheap. Regular Shadow's pretty cheap for gems. It's pretty good for starting out in like early waves. So yeah, recommend getting that. Amiri and Lady Tamio are 2 very good slows. Amiri can like stop the whole map, and then Lady Tamio can like give 75% slow, or even stun people for 5 seconds. So Lady Tamio is good. D tier, Naruto 6-pack. He's pretty expensive. I think he's like 1,000 gems, but he's just not that good, so I can't really recommend him. Kojo Mask is very situational unit. He's good in some game modes, bad in others, so he'll go in D tier. Now we got Esdeath and Young Esdeath. You guys are gonna be wondering, like, what? Aren't these guys extremely meta? This is a tier list off of units I recommend. And as I'm recording this, there's only 5 days left until the event ends. So you won't be able to get these units. So you only have 5 days to get these units. Because of how hard of a grind that will be, I can't recommend them for the time being. Tundra Evolve does a lot of damage. The best way to get him is definitely Infinity Castle, doing a ton of Infinity Castle. So yeah, if you do that, he can be good. If not, it's too hard to get him. Power and Christmas Tower, they're kind of like Admiral Kizaru, Psycho, and Teriyaki, but they're just worse than all of them. They just get heavily outshined by other ultimates, so I don't recommend them at all. Tomio and Sealed, they're just not that good. They're 2 damage units. Tomio might be a little better, but yeah, they're both not that good. We have Gil. Now Gil you can't get anymore, and he's just too expensive. Like, he's a really good unit. Get a Reaper Gil, get like a Jack Scythe. He'll be a heck of a unit. It's too expensive to get all that. Now I have Primera Evolved and Primera. They're both not that good. The Evolved version I have behind the regular version because I don't really think it's worth the evolution, all those materials and stuff, so I don't really think it's worth it. Netero I've seen be really good and does a ton of damage, so, but I don't really have any personal experience, so I can't really rate it that high. Aaron. Sometimes I've seen Aaron be very good and do a ton of damage, but most of the time he's just very bad when I see him, so I don't recommend. Ghetto, he's pretty good. He gives a good effect, but I just can't really recommend. His damage isn't too good. Okay, now we're at E tier. We have Lore Burst Unleashed. Now this is for like mid game or like mid to late game, or maybe even some early players. This is a tier list like that. So I know I have 2 Lore Bursts myself, but normally if you're like in mid game, you're not gonna have an Unleash. It is way too expensive, way too expensive to get Unleashed. I do not recommend this at all. I would put it, if there was like a tier below, so I would put it there. Do not get Unleashed. It's too expensive. Its value is dropping, so I highly recommend do not get Unleashed. This evolution, it's basically just a waste of materials. It's very bad. It does not do high damage. I can't recommend it. Kojo Masked, I don't really recommend it. I recommend this guy a lot better than having to do a lot of dungeons and stuff. It's much better to evolve a Dark Gone or something. Admiral Kanu, he has big AoE. He just doesn't have much DPS. I don't think he's that good. His cooldown takes too long, and he does give burn. Ichigo Magetsu has a very good line AoE, and line AoE is like very good if it's depending on the map. But some maps are very bad, and it just doesn't do enough damage to be good. Also, its cooldown's very long. Fuji's a decent unit itself, but its cooldown is just too long. I can't recommend a unit with like a 12 cooldown or something. Lore Burst is very good unit. He's just outshined by these stuff. He does damage. He was A tier like a couple months ago, but there's just all these stuff are just so much better. He's gonna go down here in E2. Mitsu and Muchui, they're both damage units. I can't recommend getting either one of them. They're really bad. So yeah, I do not recommend getting those. Anyway, this was a tier list made. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.